Hello, people. Here we are with our special guest, Daniel Markham, and our uh, intrepid volunteer, Esko. How do you pronounce it? Hi, Esko Luontola, right?
Yes, my name is Esko Luontola.
Luontola, yeah. So, you know, let me first do a round of introductions. It's only fair that I do the first one, and then we'll go for you guys. Just, my name is Alex. I've been in this industry for 33 years now, and I'm really passionate about I call it software creation industry because we are creating something out of nothing. And here we are on Sunday. Obviously, we love our work and we even work on weekends. We are crazy. So today we are going to do a fake coding interview. And how I got the idea, I was doing a lot of coding interviews. That's my job. I hire people and interview. And I realized that some of these coding interviews are fantastic opportunity to learn about the best ways to create software. So I'm really interested in whatever it is, and I'm not dogmatic about anything, whatever it is that we can learn and get tricks of the trade, tips and techniques. The idea with this, and even in when I'm interviewing for a candidate who's applying for a job, come up with a challenge, and the idea is not to solve the challenge, but just to walk through how are you thinking about solving it? Because sometimes we run out of time. It's not the goal is not okay. Here's your solution. It works. The goal is to, expose how are brilliant people thinking about creating software. Uh, with that in mind, over to you, Daniel. Please, a few words about yourself.
Yeah, I was waiting on the brilliant people. If they're going to show up at some point, they'll probably want to speak. If I wanted to say something impressive, I would say I'm an autodidact, that I been programming since I was a kid. If I wanted to be more honest, I would just say, hey, I think up goofy shit. Both of those statements are true. I enjoy programming, enjoy technology. I enjoy having fun. And I think if you can have fun doing whatever you're doing, you can do some cool stuff. And so often interviews and team relations with BAs and all that stuff just gets wrapped around the axle with a bunch of formality and stuff. And looking forward to just sort of sitting back and talking. This is my first time doing this, so I'm pretty much on my own as well. So Esko, you're in good company.
Thank
Yep.
you for that.
Esko, what you want to say some stuff about yourself?
Yes, I have also been coding a bit over 20 years, and I'm currently working as a software consultant at Nitor. It's a Finnish consulting company. And I like doing this also in the weekends. So here we are.
Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, let me just try and explain the challenge, and then we can all fumble through. And Daniel, please jump in and with your guidance. I know you're very, very, very interesting ideas.
Yeah, just keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Yeah, let's do something crazy. But okay, so here's the Mickey Mouse idea. I call it Home Alone. Suppose you're asked to build a routine, whatever, program, a system that has the capability somehow to turn the front lights of the house on and off. And now you want to create a system like a home security system where even if nobody's home, when the night comes, it turns the front light on so it looks like somebody's in the house. And then during the day, to sell electricity, in the morning, turns it off. And the programming logic, just to make it simple, because this system does not have access, it's blind, it doesn't have access to any light sensor, so it doesn't know when it's day or night. So it's only going by the calendar, by the clock. And let's say, for just for shits and giggles, all months that contain letter R are winter months. And then we turn the light on at 6 or 18 hours military time in the evening, and turn them off at, let's say, 8 in the morning. While during the summer times, it will actually turn the lights on at 9 in the evening or 8, whatever, and turn them off at 6 in the morning. So with that in mind, how would you just walk us through it? Maybe you can share your thoughts, or how would you attack this problem and start building or creating this?
This is going to be Esko, right?
Esko, yeah.
Yes.
Any language of your choice, programming language, and if you can please share your screen, that would be more
Yes.
interesting. Thank you.
Let's try.
And along the way, ask any questions. Does it make even sense what I described here?
Well, with the product code, it makes sense. That's the usual rule.
It's a primitive Mickey Mouse.
Makes sense. Let's see.
Cool.
Okay, you can now see the screen.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yep. Okay, yeah, I mainly work in Closure, so.
Cool.
Excellent Closure. That's Rich Hickey, right?
Yes. Yep.
I like Rich Hickey. I watched many of his talks.
Yep.
So is Closure your usual tool for doing stuff?
Yeah, the past, I don't know, 4 years or so I've been focusing on working in Closure projects. Before that, it was mostly in Java.
Could you make the font just a little bigger for me, please?
Yeah. How is it now?
Yes, many thanks.
Let's see. So we have lights singing. Let's see. So what would be a good place to start? So if we would think of this like a function that it receives the current time and then it returns that should the lights be on or off. Does that sound like a reasonable design approach? How many lights?
You sure get two choices. You can either have the thing tell something else it's time to cut on and cut off, or you can tell the thing what time it is and it can tell you whether or not it's off or on. I think both of those designs would achieve the same goal.
Yeah, I think I will go with it telling that what is the desired condition, and then
it makes the testing a lot easier. We wouldn't have to wait around for like the months with an R in it. That would be a while.
Yeah. So was it that during the summer the lights are on? Was it from 8 to 1800 or?
No, it's the lights are off, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, sounds good.
No, summer 6 till 21.
So okay, so summer would be 6 to 21 and during winter it would be the other thing. So let's see. And let's see how to represent it. Time we have let's use the Java classes for that. So too complex to instead of writing that what is the current time, I will just what is the format. Let's just print it. Okay. let's not think about time zones, right? So we are in the summer, and let's see. Production.
Sorry, guys. I just realized I have an extremely clicky keyboard.
Mhm.
Yeah, no problem. I don't hear it at all.
Yeah, good deal.
So the lights are off during well, let's not think about the border condition. Maybe doesn't matter so much. So during that time, lights are off, but then before they would be on.
So what level testing do you think you're doing right now?
TDD or what?
It
Do you
looked to
mean
me
by
like a little bit of
authorization?
acceptance testing because you went on with a few tests, but that's fine. You're running the test first. That's the important thing.
Yeah. Like
It's typical when you're your own customer to write your requirements in the form of an acceptance test, and that's just TDD at the business level.
yeah. I don't that much separate between unit test and acceptance tests.
There's no need to do that. No, not for just us.
Yep. So let's see. Now let's find out how to get the current time.
So before can I interrupt just for the benefit of people who will be watching this, and some of them are not as at the level where
Yeah.
you are or Daniel.
Yeah.
Maybe just if you can pause and describe what you just did here, what your expectation is, and now you're moving into fulfilling those expectations. But would that make sense?
Yes.
That's so that people can follow, and sometimes things are flying fast on the screen. Maybe somebody's confused.
Yeah. So okay, my expectation is that let's first focus on just the summer, and that before 6 o'clock this lights on function would return true, and then after 6 o'clock it would return and that lights are off, so it would return false.
Right. And so now that you
And
have those failing, the tests are failing, right?
yeah,
Now you're
now the
trying to
tests
make
are
them pass.
yes. So let's see what operations we have here. See if there is a way to get the time of day. Getting the hour might be enough for this. So
Now, this, sorry to interrupt, but this expectation right now is founded upon the assumption that you already know that it is summer or that it is
yes.
Yeah, you
So
figured out later. Yeah. How do you know is it really summer?
Yeah, we will leave that for later.
For later. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So let's see the hour. lights on if the hour is before 6 o'clock. Like that. Okay, seems to work. Then let's start.
One comment. As I understand, maybe I'm not reading it correctly, but this what you're building right now is based on what we call hidden input, which is the system clock, right?
Yes.
But how do you make it so? And here your hard code. Okay, cool.
Except that I'm not using it as hidden. I'm passing it the current time explicitly as a parameter to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, otherwise it would be quite hard to test.
We will have to wait until that.
Yeah.
For the test to pass.
Yeah. Or I would need to pass in like and Java has this clock object for getting the current time.
Gotcha.
And so on, but in this case, I think it's unnecessary indirection. Okay, then let's focus on the evening time.
So if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm just doing some Googling around. Usually when I start a project like this, I want to do a sort of a sanity check on what tools are available. So I'm just trying to think, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Which is sort of my usual flailing around at the beginning.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, and now then. If the hour is greater than 20, then it turns on the lights. Okay, I think that's okay for now. I'm not quite happy with how we will represent these, but I think at some point we might get some kind of a schedule that says that during these months it's between this and this hour that the lights are on.
Okay, what's your next step now?
Okay, then next step, let's commit. Then let's focus on the winter. So September, and it should be then 8 o'clock is then the critical time. And now then we will need to start considering the time of the month. Let's just fake it currently. We just check if the month is 6, then it's summer, otherwise it's winter. We will come back to it.
So basically, just for the benefit of viewers, I think what you're doing is what we XP call fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Great.
And I copied the same code to the if and else branch, so the code does the same currently, regardless of which month we are in. Now then, so that was changed.
By the way, congratulations for doing this, because coding in front of a camera is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great. Okay. Usually when I do that, I make all kinds of typos and I mess up the logic, and it's just like...
I can't
Now
type
I'm
my name. It's not a good thing.
now I'm confused at why the tests are failing. So do it in smaller steps.
Most excellent.
And that's why I say when you're doing coding interviews, it's not about solving the problem, but exposing your way of thinking, and then the interviewer knows that you're rolling with the right mindset. You're hired, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's really not about getting the perfect, correct answer. It's really more about. I think the interviewer learns more when you go say things like, "Hey, I need to tighten down, just make a smaller number of tests," because that says, "Okay, he's thinking on his feet and redoing the way he's attacking the problem." That's important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's. So it's now is the new test is failing. It should start working when I change this one number, but for some reason the summer started failing. So there's something wrong with this condition.
Another example why it's good to have tests first to catch the.
Okay, now I realize that the get months doesn't return a number; it returns an object. So there's a get month value that is actually returns a number.
A month number.
Yeah. Now when we use the correct constants, then.
I never used closure. It looks pretty neat, actually.
Yeah.
Very lispy.
Yeah. So when you just need to understand that instead of the function, okay, in comparison, the function goes like that, and then in like function calls, instead of foo 1 2 3, you instead of writing it like this in other languages, then you move the parentheses to the beginning.
It's interesting if you have any experience with ML or OCaml, either one, this comes a little more naturally.
Yeah. Okay, now then the winter evening. So 1759 lights are still off, and then it will turn on, and then it should be fixed by changing it's off by 1. Okay, now it's working.
So is there a REPL here? Do you have a REPL enclosure?
Yes, I can show you. Over 95% of the time, I just run the tests and don't use the REPL. But
the reason I ask is that there are people who start with the REPL and then move to the test, and there are people that go back and forth. It's just sort of a different way of attacking the problem. I was also kind of wondering how the entire program evaluated given any input, which is the way it's kind of configured now. It's in the tests, but it's difficult to sort of massage with your hands.
Yeah, so I usually use the REPL for checking like how some, for example, some part of the standard library works.
Yep, sure.
I press the hotkey to evaluate this whole file. That gives me all these imports working. And now then, if I just select the expression and press another hotkey, then it will send it to REPL.
And it evaluates the expression based on the entire file it's already compiled.
And Esko, how do you?
Okay, the REPL hasn't started, so.
Esko, quick question: how do you trigger tests to run? What's the at what point and how?
Yeah, I'm using the test runner called Cultra, and it has a watch mode. So whenever a file is changed, then it runs tests.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
Do the work for me.
Yeah. Well, for some reason the REPL isn't starting.
I used to use the REPL quite a bit when you do the advent of code stuff at the end of the year. It's a good place to play around with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That certainly beats the debugger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, printf statements. That's it's usually a bad sign.
Yeah, so I can select the expression and then it evaluates it. And you use oftentimes you would write a comment block and then write some code in there and then evaluate it and see what it does. So
that's a neat trick. I like that.
Yeah, I've also used this this way of invoking my own functions so that as a replacement for the command line. For example, there was one data migration at work, and sometimes there were errors with some customers' data. So then I would run some checks on the data to see that what kind of error it had, and then that was like one function that I invoke. So I invoke with the customer's ID, and then it the function, and then it runs the tests, checks that what is the problem, and then I had like 2 or 3 different functions for fixing the most common errors, and then I would use this same way run those fixes. So.
You've sort of anticipated why I asked the question about the rep, because when you deal with functional programming, it can be easy to lose track of what's being transformed, and you got a wonderful set of tests there, but you kind of need to know that really you just got a date time going in and on or off or what to come back out, and when you use tools like that with the comment block or whatever, you kind of go back to the okay, this is what the entire application does, and I mean, I got it what you're doing. I was just wondering if you got lost, and you just explained to me with the data problems or whatever, you go to the REPL and play around, something, figure what's going on.
Yeah.
Good answer.
And thank you, Daniel, for bringing this up. It's a good point.
You're never going to have a bad answer. I just tell you right now, I'm an easy grade, so everybody gets beer at the end of this. We're all good.
Yep.
So where are we at this point?
Okay, now I'm at the point that where it would be interesting to this clutch. I want to define that what is a summer month. So maybe I would.
So as far as Daniel's concerned, you're already hired.
So
try to walk that fine line where I'm like helpful without going, you fools. It's all wrong. Because when you program, everybody has their own way of solving problems, and it's a different thing to watch other people code and do it yourself.
That's why I love mob programming. With mob programming, you learn so much.
Very much so. Very much so. I've learned more mob programming than I probably did in years of coding on my own.
Exactly.
I think I would define as data that what kind of schedule we have for the summer and what kind of schedule for the winter, and then some kind of list that then what are the summer or the winter months.
That's brilliant. I like it.
Yeah.
You can do that with tuples as well. There's many different ways to go down that road.
Yeah. So let's see. So during the summer we turn off at 6 and then turn on at 21, and then for the winter they were 18. Or did I get them mixed up? Oh no, it was right. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Then let's start using these constants now. Oh yeah, that was off by 1, so either decrement by 1 or then I use the less than or equal comparison.
Now, Daniel, what do you think? If Uncle Bob was here, would he scream like, "You don't write code and before you have a line, you don't write line of code, have a test."
Yeah, Bobster's a little more hardcore than I am.
Hardcore, yeah.
I was telling Bob we did a class. I tried to teach a class to Bob actually on F#, and I was just telling him that I was enjoying watching him trying to code more than I was actually teaching the class or coding myself. So I'm sort of the scientist that you guys are lab rats, and I enjoy just watching people solve problems. That's my thing. I'm really interested in the way he did this, thinking through the way I would have done it. There's no right or wrong answer. The thing is that if you write good testable code, you're fine. You're good.
Exactly. It's just that the Flash is weak. So if I do freehand coding, I call it freehand coding, I always mess up.
Yes. Yeah, I think TDDs will show you some humility really quickly.
Yeah, quickly catch. Yeah, catch it.
Okay, so now we have those constants and we have this code repeated twice. The only difference is that the schedule is different. So let's parameterize the schedule.
Now you're refactoring.
Yeah. Well, the earlier was also like
got some nice strings off to the side here.
Yeah. And we should be able to replace all of these with the schedule. And then let's get that thing out of the if and okay, things are still working. Then this needs to be different. Let's define a schedule for that. Oh well. Also do this like a
You guys know that as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to fire up my IDE and the problem myself. That's just sad. That's just don't tell anybody. It's a sad thing. It just bugs me just to look at a computer problem long enough. Like, okay, I gotta go do it. Get out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, now we have defined that what the summon ones are, and then, well, this is just like I consider this like just decorative data, so no need for testing the every case. Maybe let's say that March is still winter. It's September or summer. I don't know. It depends on where you live. So next would be that we get the geo coordinates and then check that what time the sun goes up and down and so on.
I had a silly rule that I proposed at the beginning that all months that contain letter R are winter months.
Yeah. Yeah. That might also work. So in that case, we can remove September. Okay. Now we could actually your idea that okay, all months would start with R are winter months. So I like to write that kind of generic things as like tests. So and now then let's see if this is true for this summer months and the winter months. So let's see. Let's see all the summer months, that none of those contains are. Let's check that how would we be able to get the name of the months from there.
It's funny how we always end up back either like the time object or regex. There's like these little places, no matter what problem you're solving, you end up back in this little neighborhood you've been in a bunch of times before.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Name returns the name of the enums, and then the string includes. I think none of those should include. Yes. Then we need to define winter months. All the months. Values. And I want that as a set. Then we can do set operations to get the winter months. Mm-hmm. Manually that what did we get? So winter months, January, February, March, April, September, October, November. Okay, those look like winter months. Then let's check that. Do they include the letter R? And this should be true. At least seems to work.
Yeah.
And then I will let's check that what the if we do to fail, then this is not very helpful, but we don't know that what is the month in question. So I would write that as like a comment for or description for the assert. Same for the summer. let's split this into two cases. So summer months and winter months are defined separately.
Great.
In one project, it's a system that processes batch jobs, or like they some CSV file or JSON file with data comes in, and then we need to run a batch job to import it into a data warehouse. So in that system, I have a test which checks that what are all the, it reads all the integrations that have been configured, and then it asserts that each of those integrations has some test data, and if the test data is missing, then it will fail the build.
So let's talk a little bit about changes in refactoring. I saw you do some really cool refactoring. What would happen if we needed a second light, or if we did move to Australia and bought 4 more lights? Just kind of what parts of this application do you feel would be easy to change, and which wouldn't be, and why? And
yeah, okay, this handles now just 1 light, but I think I would probably change it to something that we represent maybe different schedules for each of the lights, and then
you'd have to have some light number, I guess, right? Some integer or whatever.
Yeah, like number or name or something, and then well, this might still be this might transform into a lower level helper method, and then at the top level we would have some operation which then returns a list or a map of the lights that and what is the expected state.
Now, the other thing I noticed is that you have your summer months defined. Of course, we just hard coded a few in there, which is fine. But if you move to Australia, we'd need to have a second list or some toggle or something to kind of move back and forth.
Yeah. So all of this is stuff that would probably need to exist in a database or somewhere, so that
they have that magic number feel to them.
Yeah, or configuration file.
Yeah, very much so.
But
now, how would you demo this? So you got a product owner coming and they're saying, "Hey, thanks for working on this light program." I think you've already answered this question, but I'm just going to give it for the people who are at home wondering how to do this.
Yeah, well, I could either just show the test that that this is how it works.
Welcome to the test, sure.
Or then I could run it in the REPL.
So yeah, the preferred way, probably the more thorough way, would be just to say, here's a test with this date and time, this happens, and
yes,
that also the comment thing, very cool.
Seriously, where's the REPL? Okay, there. So then I can say that okay, now the lights are on, but then say if it would be like after 5 months it's different and so on.
One of the other questions I like asking people is about modularization. So we've got everything in one file now. When might you want to go to 2 files or grouping things differently? Or
well, if there starts being some concept that it looks like it own whole thing, or then and the file starts getting a bit bigger.
Yeah, I think no matter what your decision is, if it's too big to sort of kind of grasp, then it's you got to be doing something differently than you're currently doing.
Yeah. So mainly I think it's about is the file big enough that you can understand it as a whole.
Esko,
that would probably go for tests as well. You wouldn't want to have 100 lines of tests either, because that would get cumbersome.
Yeah, and okay, in this case, I had all these tests and the code are in the same file, but in Clojure, if there's like a short helper function, then I might write the test in the same file right next to the function. So then it's like
I've used
yes,
the
the
expector
function how to use it, but then like a higher level test, then they would be in a different file. But that
You're
depends
answering the
on
question before I'm going to ask it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
depends on
would
the project. Yeah.
Especially for the product owner, because what you want them to do is like, here's a group of things for this one thing you want. Here's how it runs. Here's this other group of stuff you're interested in. Otherwise, you don't want to stay on the product owner for like 300 lines of test code. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Hey, Esko, is there a mutation testing tool for Clojure?
I'm not sure that there might be, but I haven't tried.
So as it stands now, you have completed this routine that works as expected. Are you ready for a stretch challenge, or are we done?
I'm ready.
If we're done, you're hired and you get paid vacation for all months that starts with R. But if you're ready for a stretch challenge, let's throw another curveball. Let's say, even though your system doesn't have eyes, cannot detect light, it can detect motion. And
motion.
It can be triggered by a motion detector. And so when the night comes and the system automatically turns the light on, now you want to save electricity. If there's no motion after a certain number of minutes or whatever, it shuts the lights off. But if there is motion, it turns it on for like, let's say 5 minutes on. If there's no motion, shuts it down. How would you go about that? That's a bit stretching it, right? I hope
yeah, I would store that somewhere, that when was the last motion detected. And then that would be some date time. And then
what is Atom?
It's mutable reference. So I think behind the cloud it might be the same or very similar to the atomic reference that Java has.
Thank you.
But it's the way that how to do mutable state in Clojure. So okay, one option would be that we have this. We store that when was the last time that motion was detected, and well, either give it as a parameter to the function or then just use it in here, so that and it would be one of these or conditions that if the motion was detected in the last 5 minutes, then the lights would be on. So something like that would be my approach in this case. But then I assume that there is something that pulls this thing every few seconds or minutes, or then if motion is detected, then it might trigger a separate event. Depends on what kind of system it is. Do we need to do polling, or will it send an event when it detects motion?
Interesting.
Now we're going to IoT territory.
Yeah.
Now do it all backwards.
Yeah. All right.
I'm taking some notes as you go. Not that you do anything wrong or right. I'm just interested in the way you're doing this. And when I sit down and do this later, I'm going to see if I do it the same way or not. And like I said, that interests me a lot.
Mhm.
I enjoy you showing off Clojure. This is the first I've seen Clojure since, I don't know, probably 2016 or so. So come a long ways.
Yeah. Although
Just
the language hasn't changed much. It's like still basically the same as version 1.0.
Maybe it was
A
scale.
there are a few additions, and some language features are like deprecated, so you are supposed to use the new feature instead of the old one. But
Has the
very
tooling
backwards
got better?
compatible.
How about the tooling? Has the tooling increased a lot, or
Yeah, well, I'm using IntelliJ and the cursive plugin for that, so that plugin has less bugs than it used to have. So that's getting better. And then this couch test running. I don't remember how old it is, but that's nice. Okay, there are some reflection for.
Out of curiosity, I seem to remember that Rich Hickey was not big on TDD, and yet I see
Yep.
very well.
True.
So, what's your take on that?
Well, everybody has
Changes
their
mind?
own style.
Yeah.
I think he probably uses the REPL for doing stuff. So, and whether you doing stuff in REPL, I think that requires the code to be even more decoupled than doing TDD, because with tests you might have some setup like setting up the database connection and so on, setting up some other global state. But if everything is in the REPL, then it needs to be more functional.
so? I guess so. What you're saying, and I agree with this. If you're saying it, TDD sort of assumes that the code's going to be mutable to some degree, that database connection or something's going to change inside of there. If it were a pure function, you wouldn't need to run a test around, 1 + 1 = 2, because it doesn't do anything test worthy.
Yeah, well, these are pure functions, so I can write the test on a single line. But if there would be some setup needed, then I don't know.
Maybe somebody read into time from somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
Random number generator.
See, was it use fixtures, and then let's see, funds for the namespace, and then.
And also, out of curiosity, have you ever tried playing with TCR?
Test commit revert, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it.
That was Kent Beck about a year ago, I think, or a year or two ago.
Yeah. I was doing it a lot recently, and it's kind of a different. What I like about it is this self-healing aspect. When you break something, you just back to its state.
Yeah.
And it encourages you to use the source control system quite a bit as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yep. And to take small steps, because you don't want to batch things and also lose your work.
Yeah, I've done like a great. I'm running a TDD course at the University of Helsinki. It's a MOOC, so massive online open course. And I have the one exercise. Where you are, there's some. Okay, the language is JavaScript, and you are supposed to refactor this code so that instead of the date class being used here and here and here, you refactor it to use the new temporal plain date AP class. And I have a TCR script here that you can use when doing the refactoring. So that's a nice thing there. So that you can and there's one test that you can use that if you well, whatever is the number you, let's say if max changes in one variable is 1, then if you modified more than one line since the last commit, then it will fail the test, and then TCL script will revert it. So
great. I like it.
So you can use that to automatically revert the changes if you make a too big change.
Did you make this open source? Did you open source it or?
Yeah, it is open source. This code is based on some. Let's see, who made the original exercise. Yeah, it's based on the lift pass refactoring kata by Johan.
Very cool.
But it's all open source, and the
Excellent.
course website is tdd.mooc.fi.
Wow, that's great.
That's one of the exercises in there.
So, Esko, when can you start? We didn't talk about.
Depends on the price.
Market dictates that. Whatever,
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, just a quick question for both of you guys. Have you ever, probably you heard of Circle CI, right? The continuous integration. So
Yes.
The person who created that then moved on and created this new platform called Dark. Have you ever looked into Dark language?
The alternative to
Paul Bigger's working on that.
JavaScript or
Dark. I'm really fascinated by that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Dark. Yeah, I've looked at it. So it's interesting how it deploys automatically. So you can deploy every few seconds.
I was also discussing with him, and then we were a little bit collaborating. I think Daniel, you may find it interesting. I think he switched everything to F# now.
Okay.
I think the thing, I'm not a fanboy about F#, but I do think it's a great learning language because it's got so many different libraries you can use. Mm-hmm. And what the Darkling guys are doing is they're trying to apply the language to the cloud itself, which is pretty wild. I think you're going to end up back with some Erlang problems at some point with a manager and shutting down processes and all that. But the idea that you can take, like JavaScript, you can take one language and use it in a bunch of different places makes it more powerful when you teach that language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So I think we're out of time, but this was just mind-blowing. Thank you so much, Esko.
Very good.
Yep. Thank you.
You are fantastic. I mean, this was a learning hour, right, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have to come up with better questions if we do this again.
Oh man, This is. So I'm gonna upload this and send you the link, and let's share on the media.
Please do.
A lot of people learn. If we spread the word, learn a lot from you, Esko. This was incredible. I really appreciate your time and your generosity. Thank you, Daniel, for your time and generosity and your fantastic leading comments and suggestions.
It's nice to meet you, Esko. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.